Hi, BookTube. I'm Peg, the Book Prize Addict, back to talk about some more of the wonderful books that I'm reading about on Steve Donoghue's End of the Year list. Have you guys been watching it? He puts out a new category every night. I think he has one left. He's had 13 out, and I think he's going to have nonfiction probably tonight. That's, of course, his favorite. So I have just had a ball watching those. In fact, I'm flirting with the idea of make some sort of reading plan around them for next year. I really admire people who are already planning their 2024 reading. And you know, it seems if I don't make a plan, I don't really end up reading things I wish I had read. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. First, I must say, I don't have my knitted Christmas sweater quite ready yet. I should have it next Friday when I make the next one, but it's not quite ready. However, I do have my Nutcracker necklace on. Anyway, so I've been spent the week actually looking through all Steve's list and doing research on them and seeing where I could find the books. I have many outlets. I'm a member of two big large town libraries that I can even get ebooks from, and I'm on. Anyway, I've just been looking, and actually, though I hadn't heard of hardly any of his books, I can find most of them used, if not in the library system. So I've just been having a great time. Anyway, so I'm going to start out. I'm not going to start reading any of the list till the first of the year, and I'll decide then what sort of plan I want to set up for them. But until then, I'm going to be reading around the list, what I call the prequels to some of the series. Some of his categories are actually, he's picked out a later book in a series, and he goes to great lengths to talk about, as I've said, whether you need to have read the previous books or not, or, you know. And so I thought, well, I'll spend the time until the new year reading around the list some of the prequels of the series. And one of the ones that has a lot of his books in the mystery category are taken from series. And I must add, many of them have main characters or the mystery solving character being a woman of a certain age. Yay, Steve. Anyway, and also they're of different time, showing different times, which is really interesting. You could almost call them historical mysteries. Anyway, I'm going to just go over, I've got a few of them here that I've not read the actual book on the list, but I've read the prequel to that and talk about a little bit what I expect from it. Okay, the first one I'm going to talk about on his list, it was the Mitford Secret by Jessica Fellowes. And this is actually the sixth book in her Mitford series and the last one. And what I do is I read enough about these to kind of see who the main characters are. And I mean, I'm not going to read the actual books on the list till the new year, but I look and see who some of the main characters are. And then I look back. In this case, I got the first book in this series, which is called the Mitford Murders, and read it. And that way I got introduced to all the characters. It turns out it's the same characters, the famous six Mitford sisters who were actual sisters during they're always sisters, but who played a big part in the social world in London between the wars. They came from a moneyed family, and the oldest one, Nancy Mitford, became an author herself, and there's much about her. In fact, let's see. Okay, the main character who solves the mysteries is going to be called Jessica Fellowes. And in this last book, she's a private eye who is invited back to their house to a party. And you can tell she has some history there. Okay, in the one I read, the first one, the Mitford Murders, it introduces you to Jessica Fellowes. In fact, she's one of the in an opening scene, it has her, she's been hired to go to the Mitford household to become a nursemaid because they have these 6 girls. And you can see that she's going to be somehow involved with all of them through the years. This one took place in 1920. The last one takes place in 1941. So in between, we've got 4 books, evidently from the different years. Just a little bit, I want to talk about Jessica Fellowes, is the niece of Julian Fellowes, who wrote and produced Downton Abbey. And she's very interested in that same time period. In fact, she has, I think, 4 nonfiction books out dealing with scenes around Downton Abbey, the history, etc. And now she's written 6 of this time about the Mitford murders. Let's see. As I said, Nancy Mitford herself, I would like to read a little bit about her. She had 2 novels. One was called The Pursuit of Love, and one was called Love in a Cold Climate. She wrote in the 1940s. So I've seen those used at places. I'd be interested in taking a look at those. I'm not sure what kind of author Nancy Mitford but she's a character in all this series. Okay, next we have Ashley Weaver, who has a series with a character called Electra McDonald. And here's the one that Steve chose for the list that was recently published, Playing It Safe. Now I have to tell you, this deals with a main character who is a professional safecracker woman, of course, and she manages. I took one of the earlier books from the Where to Go. I have too many books and too many other things. Okay, I took one of the first books from her series called A Peculiar Combination. Now this is what's funny. She's a professional safecracker, right? And all her books have some sort of word in the title that deals with safes or lockups. That's kind of twee, but it's kind of fun. This one is probably the most fun of the group. Some of the others we have Peculiar Combination, The Key to Deceit, Playing It Safe, and Locked in Pursuit. So actually there's one after Playing It Safe. Maybe Steve didn't get to it yet. Okay, so I love the writing of this. I read the first one, and it introduces her as she's just become a professional safecracker that works for her uncle who isn't able to make a living with being a safe repairman. So the first scene is wonderfully done. It's through her main character's eyes as she sizes up a mansion in London or a big house that she wants to crack the safe, and you just go with her. I love that kind of writing, that it's so real. As she goes into the house and finds the safe, where's the safe, and all the different feelings. And I was just sitting on pins and needles. I felt like it was me creeping through their house. And there's about 10 pages of that. So well done. And not a spoiler, it happened after the 10 pages, she gets caught. And she gets caught by a man who's turns out to be a member of British intelligence. And this is during the war. And he gives her a choice of working for British intelligence, solving mysteries, or going to jail for being a safecracker. You can imagine what she chose. So all the rest of these are stories of her working for as a spy hunter or whatever, which I really like too. Okay, that's that one. The next one, where did I put it? Okay, the next one I have is by Sujata Massey, and the one that Steve read and was called The Mistress of Bhatia House, and it says up here, which is a mystery of 1920s India, and they're all take place in 1920s India. And actually, the main character in this is a woman who is the only lawyer in Bombay at this time. She lives with her family of origin. And even in the last one, I didn't read too much of it, but you could say it's a weird position to be in India, in Bombay in the 1920s as a woman lawyer, and some of the things she goes through. And I went and checked out the first book of the series called The Widows of Malabar Hill. And it's great. It goes all into her backstory, how she became a lawyer, things she solved along the way. So I'm hoping the others are just as good. I'd almost like to read all of those. I think maybe she's had 6 out now, with this Mistress of Bhatia House being the latest. Okay, one other thing as I wanted to say is if it takes place in a foreign place to me, some country I'm not familiar with, I really like to situate myself in the place of the story. And this one has a great picture of Bombay and all the places that it's going to take place in the mystery. So what I do, I get a screenshot of this and enlarge it, and I can keep that map right by me while I'm reading. I don't have to come back and keep looking at the map. And that really adds to a book to me, to be able to look up the places where they are as they go there. Okay, so let's see. One more. I have the last one. There are actually several more series, but I didn't have time to look at them all. Okay, this one's by Dana Stabenow, and hers, Steve's pick is Less Than Treason. No, that's the one I read. Never mind. Steve's pick, the last one in it. Oh, come on. It's not wanting to go. I think I have almost as much problem with my iPad as Steve does with his. Anyway, Dana Stabenow is called Not the Dead Ones, and you can see it's a scene there. It's a wrecked airplane, actually, in front of an Alaska scene. And this whole series takes place in Alaska with a woman who is a private investigator, a native private investigator. So it has a lot of Alaskan type atmosphere, which I'm looking forward to. That's one state I've certainly never been to. And you can tell it's going to be cold and icy. And so she's written 23 novels in this series, all with the same private eye, who's called Kate Shugard. And I think the first one, after she's written so many, I couldn't even find the first one. I don't think it's in print anymore. But I read one called Less Than Treason out of the middle. I think when there's that many, you don't have to read them all. So I got a good taste of what she is and the Alaska scenery. And in this one, Steve's deals with a disappearance of a geologist who's wandering around the outback of Alaska in her hunt for him. And it also has a wonderful map, which I would need to see places in Alaska. So I'll be using this as I read the one. So anyway, I'm going to spend the rest of the year kind of going through some of the different categories and preparing myself by reading earlier ones in the series and see how that goes. And we'll see if I manage to make up some kind of reading plan for the actual ones on the list for the New Year's. I'm thinking I might. Thanks. Bye.